thank you all so much for coming out today, and I want to thank Marie for having me and Beryl for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. And as Marie mentioned, I do have somebody with me, a guest, a neighbor, a recent neighbor of mine. Her name is Ellen McCarthy, and she's a new transplant here from Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, the Pocono area, for those of you who know that. So she's with me. Thank you. I just want to let everybody know, I hope you realize that you've all been given a gift about a year ago. And that gift was really from Tim Moffat, who basically sponsored a bill, and it got passed, that allows for representation for the first time ever from the outer reaches of Buncombe County to the Buncombe County Commission. So what they've done, for those of you who are not aware, is they've split Buncombe County into 3 districts, 1, 2, and 3, and 1 is Asheville, and 2 would be north and then going east, and 3, which is where I am from, is north from Sandy Mush going down towards Arden area, encompassing that western part. So we have an opportunity now to have our voices heard and to elect people to the Buncombe County Commission that speak for you. And I would like to be your candidate for Buncombe County Commissioner from District 3 that speaks for you. I am a conservative, I'm a Republican, and I believe in free market principles. I believe in individual responsibility. I believe in individual liberty. And I believe that government should let people be unintrusive in people's lives as possible. So I would like to be the second woman elected to the Buncombe County Commission, since the lady you mentioned that is a conservative Republican person. So I want to just give you a little bit of background on me. My husband Tom and I moved here a few years ago. We live in Candler. We own a condo there. And I'm not from here, obviously. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I came from a very middle-class background, and I apologize for those of you who might have heard this story before. I kind of feel funny always saying it, but I want to explain to you my background, to explain to you why I'm passionate about certain issues. My father was a sheet metal worker and belonged to a union, and I'm the oldest of 4 other siblings. Again, a very middle class growing up, and I have to say I am the only conservative in my family. Everybody else would be what we call progressive, not even Democrat, progressive. And I don't know how that happened, but it makes for some interesting conversations over holiday meals. In fact, we don't have conversations there because they don't go very well. Actually, my one sister sent me a little bit of money kind of on the slide, but my other sister said, I hope you win, but don't ever expect anything from me on that. So that's my support in my family. But anyway, after school, I moved to Detroit, Michigan, and I worked there, and at nighttime I went to graduate school, and I got an MBA. In Detroit, and after that, the company that I was working for during the day transferred me into their home marketing department, which would happen to be in Montville, New Jersey, northern New Jersey area. So I was promoted into their marketing department, took a job there, and that's how I got to New Jersey, and that was in the mid-'80s. So I spent a lot of years in New Jersey. I worked for a couple of Fortune 500 companies. I worked in product management in their marketing department. And then I was kind of decided I wanted to do my own thing, and I had the entrepreneurial bug. So I went and I decided I wanted to start my own company. So for those of you ladies who are bakers, as I used to be, I know you understand the words from scratch. You know how you bake a cake from scratch? Well, I started my business from scratch. And when I say from scratch, I had no contacts in the area. That wasn't my field of expertise. I researched an idea. I did my little market research with it. I put my business plan together. I presented it to the bank. I got a small business loan, which was very hard to come by in the early 90s. And that's how I started my business. Over the next 18 years, I ran that business, and I grew it to be 25 employees. with good paying private sector jobs. Most of my employees were nurses, so they were professionals. We had sick time, we had vacation time, we had a 401k plan. I contributed, as a company, contributed to the 401k plan. We had health insurance, and we had a career path for these folks. And I think that's so important, this good private sector jobs, because personally I think that's what we're missing here in Buncombe County. So after 18 years, finally I decided, I had an opportunity to sell the business, and I did. I sold it to a private investor, and I did that in 2009, and I still continue to consult for that person. And before I kind of move off of this area, I just want to kind of give you a flavor, just walk with me a little bit in my shoes on day one of my business. But again, starting from scratch. I ate my breakfast, I ran upstairs to my spare bedroom, I picked up my telephone, and I began calling human resource departments within a 50-mile radius of our company, of my house. The company that I started was working well, and we managed medical leaves of absence for corporations. So we had nurses that looked over the medical information and approved leaves for their employees. So that was what the business did. So that's how I started it. For a number of years I didn't take a salary. And when we had enough revenue that we were able to actually afford a real office, on Friday evenings, after all the staff would leave, I'm there vacuuming the floors. So I'm not telling you that to make me look good or anything like that. I'm telling you that to let you know that I know what it takes to work hard, to be diligent, to be determined to succeed, and to really be able to make things happen. You have to do that, you have to have honesty, you have to have integrity, and all those other characteristics. And those are the characteristics that I would like to bring if I am privileged enough to represent you at the Buncombe County Commission. What are the things that are my key points? There's really two things. One I'm passionate about, one I get a little bit angry about. The passionate thing is jobs. Jobs, and more jobs. And these are good jobs. I'm not talking about some of the jobs that really are out there and they don't have the career path and they're minimum wage. I'm talking about jobs where you have a son or a daughter and they go to AB Tech, or they graduate from AB Tech, or they graduate from UNCA. They have a place to go here in Asheville to find work that will allow them it will give them the footing and the background and the structure to be able to start to rise in their career. I'm happy to say that over the time that I had working well, we had employees come and go, and every single one of those employees that went, I have some employees now that are very high up in some very large companies, and I'm very happy to say that I'm proud. I'm upset when they tell you they're leaving, but you're really proud that they're really doing better and they're really making a way for themselves. And that's what we need here. We don't have enough of that. I talk to business people all the time, small business folks, and they tell me Buncombe County is not friendly to jobs. Now, Buncombe County and Nashville have a ton of resources allocated to trying to bring jobs here, but it's not working. And I would like to help Buncombe County really become open for business again and open for jobs that your sons and your daughters can apply for and get after they graduate from college, and we don't have a mass exodus of young folks leaving here because of that. So that's really a key thing. The other thing is the regulations. The regulatory burden here is really quite onerous for some businesses. And not that all regulations are bad, some regulations you need, but I've had people tell me they've had friends trying to start businesses, and after 2 years of trying to get the permits, they've given up. That's not good. That's not good enough for us. If a regulation doesn't make sense, we need to be looking at it. Why is it there? So again, we need to make Buncombe County more open for business and more job friendly. So that's what I'm passionate about. What I absolutely get angry about is the whole Buncombe County budget and the fiscal responsibility. Again, having been in business for 18 years, through good years and bad years, I know how to tighten the belt, I know how to spend money responsibly, and I know how to look at projects to decide what makes sense and what doesn't. And I do not see that kind of analysis happening right now at the Buncombe County Commission. People bring, folks bring projects to the commission and ask for funding. If there's a cost-benefit analysis done, I don't know where it is because it's not shared with the public. That shouldn't be happening. I mean, this is your money, and just because a project sounds like it's something someone might like doesn't mean it makes sense to do it. So we need to be looking at those projects from a business standpoint, applying good, tried and true business principles to budgeting and to selecting projects. And I'd like to bring that discipline to the Buncombe County Commission because I do not see that happening. And just one quick story and then I'll kind of wrap it up here. I went to a planning retreat, and for me, being in business for many years, the planning season, you get your strategies, your goals, all this stuff, and you kind of take a look at what you've done in the past, and you look at the competitive situation, you look at the current market, and then you kind of make a decision of what you want to do. None of that was ever talked about at all. How they decided to plan, and this is absolutely, literally the truth, every commissioner stood up and said what they would like to do. So it was like a kind of a free flow, and they were writing it on a board, on paper, and they had there. So someone was taking down. So someone said, I like more sidewalks in North Asheville, so they write that down. And then they give them 5 sticky notes each. And they ask them to go and put their sticky notes next to the projects they like the best. And that is how they chose what their priorities are going to be for 2012, 2013. That's not the way we do it in business. If I did that in business, I would be out of business so fast, it would be ridiculous. You can't do that. So again, what I'm saying, I have a business background that I think can really be helpful and is much needed on that commission. And I think that, again, with the focus on jobs and the private sector jobs and good private sector jobs, as well as bringing the business experience and discipline to that commission, I really think that will help Buncombe County move forward and be prosperous for the future. So I'm asking you for your vote. Again, I'm in District 3. I'm asking you for your support, most importantly, after the vote. The support is time. If any of you have time to help me at all, I need help on my campaign. I'd appreciate it. You don't have to be walking, don't have to feel like you have to be walking neighborhoods. We have lots of things for you to do. And I also need help financially as well, because I'm not in the position to be able to self-support my campaign. I need to be able to get contributions. So I'd really appreciate all of your support that you could give me, and certainly your vote. Thank you so much for having me.